Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of NinaRibena's Art Journal Prompts and More. It's week 4, the final week of Art Journal Frenzy, and today the challenge is collage. I'm going to be working on my postcard pages, my calendar page. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, some of us within the Facebook group, NinaRibena's Art Journal Prompts and More, are working on calendar pages, ready for a 2019 calendar. I've decided I'm going to put mine in a journal just so that I've got everything together, and I shall have my postcard on one side and then my calendar page on the other. I'm not going to do that today. I'll do that at a later date. The pages I'm working on for my calendar are postcard size pages, which are 6 inches by 4 inches. And I want to make 4 little postcards today in collage style. So I've pulled out various bits and pieces and I'm deliberately pulling out pieces that I've had in my stash for absolutely ages. Bits and pieces that I love, but for whatever reason, probably because they're so nice, I just haven't used them and it's just ridiculous. So let me just run through what I've got. I've got some pieces of fabric. I picked this up from the scrap store. I think there was 6 colours in total for, something ridiculous like £1. It's sort of like a linen style fabric, and I bought it because I just loved the colours. Haven't used it. I've also pulled out some bits and pieces of this. It's sort of like a fabric tablecloth. It's like a heavy duty napkin, and I picked this up, oh gosh, probably, I don't know, it was after Christmas I think, on the clearance section in Sainsbury's, and loved it. I've got various ones of these. This is the colour choice I've decided to use today. I just love these heavy duty napkins. I've used one of these before in sort of like a peacock blue style when Kylie Koo was doing her Junk Use It or Lose It, and I covered a picture frame and of course became obsessed because it is heavy duty. It's really good to use. So I'm going to be using some of that, and then I've pulled out various collage items. I'm going to be using various bits and pieces of wallpaper. I've got this flower, a butterfly. I think I've got a couple of butterflies. There we go. In fact, I've got 3 butterflies, a bird. There's also some trims from that wallpaper sample somewhere. Here we go. Some borders and things that I thought I might be able to incorporate. So I've got some of those. Bits and pieces of painty paper, a flower, ledger paper, some postage stamps, and various trims and backgrounds and that kind of thing. So I'm going to work on a piece of deli paper, as I say, and I'm just going to glue this down. I'm going to glue the fabric down first. Let me just work on this, and I want to cover about 2/3, as I say, of my piece of cardstock. Louis, shush! So just apply plenty of glue, because of course fabric will just soak everything up. And the reason I'm using fabric today is just because, I don't normally use it, and I just want the texture as well. I just thought, I'm just going to try and use as many different types of textures as I can. I'm going to use the lid to keep my paintbrush in. Now let's have a look. That's the straightest edge, I think, so I'm going to have it something like that, and I'm going to make sure that this is stuck down first. I'm going to leave that for a few minutes before I even attempt to glue on my piece of tablecloth. So I just want to glue my tablecloth on now. That's glued nice and firmly, and you can always turn that over and press along the edges on the back as well, just to make sure that you've got good adhesion. You can probably see a pencil mark here. I drew a pencil line and cut a nice flat edge. You don't have to be particular, but you of course know that I am, so that's just the way it goes. So again, I'm just going to press around the edges, leave that for a few minutes before I cut it out. That's nice and dry, and I'm just going to cut as you normally would around the edges. So this is how my postcard backgrounds look, all slightly different, so really happy with those. And of course some of these have gone a bit wonky, but that's okay, that really doesn't matter, because what I am going to do now is I've got various trims. I've just had a quick play around, and I think I'm going to use these four. I pulled this one out, but you know, that just doesn't go with any of the colours, so I've got these four. So this is how my postcard backgrounds are looking at the moment. This has just had the one strip of trim. I added just some frayed a strip of the leftover fabric, and I just frayed it at the edges. You can see how it's fraying here. So I just, you know, did that there and glued that on. I quite like that look. That one's just left as it is, and this one I decided to add another piece of the blue trim. So I love those, but I think what I want to do now is just grunge them up around the edges, and I'm going to use this foot thing because I just love how it's starting to fray. So I'm just going to go around just to try and sort of, you know, grunge it up around the edges, and I'll do that on all four of them. So this is how these look now that they've been grunged up around the edges. They look tatty and shabby chic. I love these, but I want to add some more detail to the backgrounds. For instance, this one here, you can see I ended up resorting to Fabri-Tac on some of these because I just couldn't get them to stick with Aileen's tacky glue. So this one's had Fabri-Tac, and you can see some of the glue poking through. So what I've decided to do is just add a bit of detail with this stamp here. I think this was just a really cheap one that I picked up from the works. So I've got some Amsterdam acrylic in Venetian rose. I'm going to add a tiny bit of this to my mat here. I've got a palette knife. I'm just going to really carefully smooth that out like that, because what I want to do now is just dip this in. Now, which way round do I want it to go? I think that way round. I'm going to dip my stamp like that into the paint, and I'm going to put it on. I'm going to stand up to do this to make sure that I get it straight, and just stamp down, Nina, don't overthink it. You've got one shot at this, and if it smudges, then so be it. It's just a bit of detail. Well, there we go. I quite like that. Not a perfect impression, but nevertheless, I like it. So there we go. I've still got this paint out. I'm just going to smooth it over again. I'm not sure whether you can see this or whether it's slightly out of camera shot. And I've got another stamp. I'm not even sure which stamp set this is from. It's just a random flower. I haven't even bothered putting it on a stamp block. I'm dipping it in the paint, and I'm just going to put some all over the cream background this time, just to add some background interest. I felt that if I stamped with ink, it was likely to bleed. I'm trying to be random about this and not overthink it. That colour just works so well. Oh, I love that. That's pretty. Here we go. And it's just adding a bit of interest to that background, so that it's just not quite so plain. I really like that. Isn't that gorgeous? So this one here, I just want to add a bit more detail to the background again, and I've got one of the Art by Marlene stamps this time. So again, I'm just going to put this, dab this into my stamp, and make sure when you're using your stamps with acrylic paint that as soon as you finish with them that you go and clean them, because otherwise you'll just ruin your stamps. I'm just going to put that down like that, and again, it's just because I want to add a bit of detail to the background. I love that. That's so pretty. We'll add a bit more, so I'm just dipping into my paint. I'll add some there, and you know, I'm not bothered if I don't get a full image. It's just a bit of pattern to the background. There we go. So happy with that. I've got these scraps of ledger paper, and of course I've got leftover paint as well, so I'm just going to tap some of that on just because I just don't want to waste it. So my postcards so far, I love these backgrounds. I think they, you know, have just added a little bit of detail to that plain fabric. Just love how those look so far, and again I just love that they're all different, you know, not all the same. So I've got these focal images here, and I just need to decide. I've got these ones that I want to work with. I've got 5 and I'm not sure which ones I want to use. I love this one on here like this. I just think that's absolutely gorgeous, and so what I think I am going to do is try and tear around the edges and just see what we can do. And you know, I may or may not use these, I don't know. I'm just playing at this stage until I get sort of a composition that I am happy with. That's not quite straight, and I'm going to try my hardest not to be too perfect about this either, but you know how I am. So I'm going to tear this off here. I like this frame. And again, I'm going to do the same around the edge here. And this one might be just really simple and just a case of adding this on. I don't know. I really don't know. I just love that. Isn't that pretty? So that one's definitely a possibility. So we'll put that one to one side. And I'm just going to work on these one at a time. Now, what do I like here? You see, I really like that. That one there, you see, that definitely goes with that one there. Let me just try it with this one as well. Now I'm getting there with these. The hardest thing with this is trying to decide on the composition. Let's start off with this one here. So that was how I chopped it out, and I think all I want to do for the time being is to just glue that on something like that. It's going to need more, but I'm happy with that for the time being. So the next time you see that, it will be glued on like that. This one here, I'm going to use the tab that was on the gingham ribbon because I just really like that. So I'm going to glue that onto the side like that. I like the text. I think that adds some interest, and that will be glued on something like that. I really like that. This is what I've got so far, and it's all coming together. I'm really happy with this, but you know, with me, it's all in the attention to detail, and I just feel that these two pieces here are just lacking something in the background. This was the piece of ledger paper that I stamped off the excess ink from the Art by Marlene stamp, but what I want to do is just stamp. Let me just move those to one side. On this piece of ledger paper, I've got an old script stamp and some archival ink. Which way round does it go? This way round, and I'm just going to add a bit of script. There we go, just to give it just a bit more detail. There we go, that's perfect. And then my butterfly then can go on that. So, right, okay, I'm happy with that now. And I feel as if this needs just a bit of something as well. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one here. And just look, that just looks so much better. So let's start gluing everything down. So let's just add some Pritt Stick here. I really like how that looked, just being slightly off center like that, and I'm just going to stick it down with a glue stick. I just absolutely love these. I just think they're gorgeous. So there's that one there, that one, and that one, and I love how they're fraying around the edges. Now I just want to add some iced spruce around the outside just to grunge them up just a little bit more. I didn't want anything black or anything too harsh. I think this, you know, grey is just a really soft, nice colour. I just love that. And so here are my finished postcards. I love these and thoroughly enjoyed doing the shabby chic theme this week. I don't often do shabby chic, but it was just really, really fun to use up some of the bits and pieces that I've had in my stash for goodness knows how long. Now, to finish things off, I used some of the Tim Holtz small talk quotes just to add to them. So hold on tight to your dreams, love with all your heart, today is full of possibilities, and live in the moment. And then I used some Neocolour 2s as well, just to intensify the colour on the butterflies. So I've done that to all the butterflies, and then I used a graphite pencil just to add a bit more detail to the bird as well. And that's it. I've also attached another piece of card just to stabilise these. It's still grungy on the back just because of the distress ink that I used to ink around the edges, but I'm thrilled to bits with those. Now, these are going to go in my Happy Mail stash, and this is the one that I'm going to use for my calendar page. Here's the rest of my calendar pages. So January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August and September. I can't believe we're in September already. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the video as well that I have decided I'm going to turn mine into a journal. I shall make it myself, and I think I shall have 4 signatures of 3 pages, and I shall probably use mixed media paper. And so what I shall probably end up doing is having my postcard on the right hand side, if I can grab hold of one, and then my calendar, so January, would be on the left. But as I say, I'll have a think on that and show you what I decide to do at a later date. So I look forward to seeing how everybody else decides to interpret the collage theme this week. I mentioned at the beginning of the video as well that this was the last week of Art Journal Frenzy, and it's not. It's another 5-week month, so I'll be back next week with another art journaling idea. But if you enjoyed today's project, as always, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up, and do let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you're not subscribed to my channel already, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to click on the bell so that you get notifications of my future videos. So take care, everyone, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.